Deb, tell us about that first important script.
Okay, but first, does everybody know what the Nichols Fellowship is? Just nod of heads, yeah? No? Just briefly, it's one of the creme de la creme of screenwriting competitions out there. There are so many competitions, but the Nichols is taken seriously in Hollywood, so if you can get even into the quarterfinals in the Nichols Fellowship, you'll get some interest. You'll get people wanting to know about your script. They'll contact you. They'll want to know more about you. You may get an agent. Bill, you had great luck with your fellowships. Congratulations, it's fantastic. But so consider the Nichols Fellowship. If you're going to do the screenplay route, or the screenplay competition route, my screenplay that I'm working with now as a producer on it started with the Nichols Fellowship. I entered it 1 year. It didn't do anything. It didn't even get into the quarterfinals. 2 years later, it got into the semifinals, and then the following year, it got into the semifinals again. I kept putting that same one back in. And in the interim,
Well, what do you get if you win the Nichols Fellowship?
If you win,
just explain.
Well, you know what? Because I'm only a semifinalist in it, but we're going to break down some numbers because there are about 6,000 people, roughly, that enter that screenplay competition. Quarterfinals are about 300 something. They'll pull 300 people out of that 6,000 figure, and those are the quarterfinals. And then you have about, I think, 100 to 114 people that they'll pull for the semifinals. And then down to, is it 10 to 12?
I think it was 9. I think it was 9 the year I was in it.
Yeah, even better. So, you know, even if you're in the quarterfinals, out of 6,000 some people, that's fantastic. And that's a filter system for people in Hollywood. So they know that other people have read it, because the people who read it are members of the Academy, help me out, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Yeah. The people who pass out the Oscars, that's who they are. Yeah. And they read your screenplay.
And so you imagine the connections that come from that, you know.
So do it. It's a great thing to do.
And even the I'm sorry to interrupt, but it just reminded me of a story that even the people that it's encouraging just the people that read it. You know, I remember one of the people telling me, you know, when I didn't win, I was a finalist, but I didn't win, and they were going, Eva Marie Saint was so disappointed because she loved your script and she wanted it to win. And I'm like, she read my script, you know. She was one of the judges, you know. It's just kind of, that's a gratifying thing, just to know who's in there reading that, you know.
Yeah, and it's subjective, right? Because there have been a few times I've entered the same competition where I didn't even get into the quarterfinals, but they would say, you were close, you were like the next 100 before we would have put you into the quarterfinals. So they really do read, and they are, you know, they take it seriously. But the screenplay that I entered that has done well for me is called Midnight Swing. It's a musical of all things, which is odd because you don't really get too many musicals in competitions. Usually they're dramas, I think, that they get the majority of in the Nichols. But that screenplay caught some interest of a few actors, so I now have a young actor attached to it who just wrapped the next Chronicles of Riddick 3 in Montreal, so he's attached to my script now, and he's helping me produce it. That's what you do when you're at my level, because, you know, I feel like the oddball here because you guys have agents and whatnot, and I'm just kind of picking up crumbs right now and taking the options when I get the options, and then transitioning into producing, which is something I never thought I'd do, but I like it. It's fun. It gives you crazy late hours, and you're always tired, but it's fun. So, you know, I don't know if you're a person, I mean, a writer that wants to go that route, but I kind of think in this day and age, you have to wear many hats, not just be a writer.
But is that making you a control freak, are you saying?
No, I like people to help me. I like to delegate. Here, help me do this and this and this, and they do. Yeah. You know, because I can't do everything, and any producer knows that you can't. You know, you need a good team. So we're building our team right now, and it's fun. And of course, in the interim, other things happen. You know, other people I've met because of this one project. We're now shooting a short film in LA on June 4th, and the producer and director of that short film is a young Disney actress. She was in a movie that I don't think it did very well, but because it's a Disney movie, she has a lot of connections now. It was called Prom. It came out, I think, in 2010. So it's her piece, but, you know, we hit it off, and she asked me to help her with the budget. And it's funny because as a writer, you don't think you would do these things, but you kind of learn and you pick up new skills as you just go about the business. So I helped her with a budget and then a schedule, and then she just point blank asked, "Can you please help me produce this picture?" So that's what we're doing now, and it's a little sidetrack, but I keep thinking that will help me in the long run with new connections and just new experience. So yeah, I'm in this weird kind of hazy, soupy mix of writing and then producing and then the stuff in between. I have a day job here too. I work at a library.
Well, that's not a bad job for a writer.
No, it's not. It's a great place, but yeah, I mean, and I need it. I need my day job. So don't quit your day job yet. You know, you need those plane tickets to be a producer, to fly out and peddle your work.
Yeah.